Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw.
Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw. I would like to thank you viewers for helping me learn the lore and the bios and profiles of all the Final Fantasy characters. Like I've mentioned before in my other videos, I grew up with the game but never really played it, never really had in sports and fighting games, and massive RPGs was not it, except for Super Mario RPG. But Kuja, pretty cool character after a couple of viewers said what he does and all characters of this commander. But without further ado, the Breaking Brew series is all about bringing you guys more cards to brew with. There's a bunch of obvious staples, but I'm trying to give you guys some other gameplay options. Let's talk about Kuja, Genome Sorcerer. So my experience with Spellslinging decks, you get comfortable putting the obvious Spellslinger spells in there, especially if they're red or black. They're going to be removal and burn spells. But don't forget about gold or stealing people's creatures. Think that's underestimated, and it's a nice wrinkle to the deck list. Anyway, I got Call for Aid for you for 4 in a red sorcery. It says gain control of all creatures target opponent controls until end of turn. Untap those creatures. They gain haste until end of turn. You can't attack that player this turn. You can't sacrifice those creatures this turn. The good thing about this card, you get to possibly steal an army on the battlefield and use that army of one opponent to attack another opponent. Not bad, because when you're playing Kuja, it's obviously based off of burn spells and pingers, right? This is a nice wrinkle to your spell slinging obvious spells. So I added this card mainly for new players. Before in the Magic world, it was very hard to remove planeswalkers. Yeah, only Black had like maybe 1 or 2 cards that can remove planeswalkers. So now there's more removal spells in mono black that are able to remove planeswalkers, and I think y'all should start considering them because too many times planeswalkers can end the game. So why not take them out? So we have Annihilating Glare for 1 black, a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay 4 mana or sacrifice an artifact or a creature. Well, you could possibly sacrifice one of those wizards that you created, unfortunately. But, if you need to get rid of a planeswalker, hey, it says destroy target creature or planeswalker. So if you're looking for cards to create copies of your 0/1 wizards, this could be the possible card for you if you invest enough mana into it. So for Garrett's Belligerence, X and 2 red, it's a sorcery. GB deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Whenever a creature dealt damage this way dies, this turn populate. So this card is good to make multiple copies if you invest a good amount of mana and actually eliminate creatures this way. So hey, this could be an explosive turn. That's what I'm trying to You invest enough mana, they got a bunch of 1/1s, you tap a total of 6 mana, and they got 4 1/1s. You eliminate all those 1/1s, you get to make 4 copies of those 0/1 wizards able to transform Kuja. Just saying. So look, when it comes to mana base, I know it's expensive. I don't even bother buying these expensive fetch lands. I'd rather have the cards. So sometimes I do play with lands that come in tapped. But, I'm budget friendly. I like to feel like that. So base camp, it comes in tapped, taps for colorless, but it says tap it. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard spell, or activate an ability of a cleric, rogue, wizard, or warrior. Hey, Kuja is a wizard. You're probably playing a bunch of wizards in this deck. Great card to have to mana fix. So this card has passed by me so many times in the Duskmourn set. I can't believe it. Seance Board for 2 mana. It's an artifact. It has Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a soul counter on Seance Board. Tap it. Add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of soul counters on Seance Board. Spend this mana only to cast instant, sorcery, demon, and spirit spells. So obviously in this Kuja deck, we're going to be using it for instants and sorceries. And it's fun being a Spellslinger, right? Because the bigger spells just do so much. And sometimes they cost a little bit too much mana. Well, this is a great early turn play. Let the game progress, and creatures die often, and they die often on each player's turn. It's pretty quick to get a bunch of soul counters to add a bunch of mana at the right time. Trust me, this is not the worst thing out there that players are going to put on the battlefield. So it should stick around.